Welcome back to the deep dive. Okay, I want you to think about something for a second. The last time you flirted.
Oh boy.
No, not the Hollywood version. I mean, the real, maybe slightly awkward, maybe amazing version. We always, we put it in this little box called dating or romance.
Or if you're feeling less generous, manipulation.
Right. But today, we are going to take that box and just completely blow it apart. We've been digging into this really incredible text called The Architecture of Layered Social Signaling.
And that title alone tells you everything. This is not about pickup artistry.
Not at all. It's so analytical. It looks at how we interact, like an engineer looking at a schematic.
Yeah.
It doesn't treat flirtation as an emotion. It treats it as a technical skill.
Competency. Yeah.
Exactly. And the whole argument, the thing that grabbed me, is that what we call flirting is actually a test of what the author calls structural communication fluency.
And that fluency is apparently the same skill you need in a boardroom negotiation or, trying to figure out office politics.
It's a total reframe. So that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to strip away all the emotional baggage and look at the code running underneath it all.
We're going to look at how we have whole conversations without saying anything true and why good manners might actually be a critical safety feature.
And why the ability to flirt might just be a kind of real-time intelligence test.
And honestly, why it's a skill worth having even if you are never, ever going on another first date again.
Oh, okay, so let's start with the basics. The source doesn't even begin with attraction. It starts with a term, multi-layer signaling.
Right. This is the whole foundation. The idea is that most of our conversations are, single track. I ask you for the salt, you pass me the salt.
Simple procedural.
Exactly. It's efficient. But flirtation, or this layered signaling, runs on two tracks at the same time. You've got the surface layer and the structural layer.
Let's unpack that because that distinction is everything. So the surface layer, that's the script.
That's the script. It's the literal words coming out of your mouth. And here's the key, the source is really specific on this. The surface layer has to be socially neutral. It has to be boring.
Deniable.
Completely deniable. This is why some of the best flirting happens while you're talking about the weather. Or, the quarterly budget.
Or how much you hate the new office chairs.
Yes. The term for this is plausible deniability. The content has to be so mundane that if someone recorded it, you'd sound totally innocent.
Your Honor, all I said was that her pivot tables were very well organized.
Precisely. That boredom is a feature, not a bug. It's the safety net. But while all that is happening on track 1, track 2 is where the real action is. The structural layer.
And this is where the actual data is. The source lists, like a whole dashboard of things here. It's not just your tone of voice.
Oh, no. It's timing. It's how long you hold eye contact. Is it just a fraction of a second too long? It's proximity. Did you lean in a little closer than you needed to?
And the one that I found fascinating was semantic ambiguity.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What does that actually mean in practice?
It's about using words that could mean two things, not just like bad puns. It's about phrasing something in a way that could be taken as intimate, but could also be taken as completely innocent.
It's Schrodinger's compliment.
It is. Until the other person reacts to it, the meaning hasn't really settled.
So the surface layer is saying this is a very interesting spreadsheet. But the structural layer, the eye contact, the slight smile, the timing, is asking a completely different question, like, are you picking up what I'm putting down?
Exactly. The structure is probing. It's asking, are we on the same page? Are you receptive to this channel?
Okay, but this feels like a lot of work. And I have to ask the obvious question, why? Why do we do this? If I want to know if you're on my side, why not just ask?
Because asking is risky. It's incredibly risky. The source makes this brilliant distinction between procedural dialogue and what it calls exploratory calibration.
Calibration, I like that. Sounds scientific.
Well, it is. Procedural dialogue is about facts. What time is it? But exploratory calibration isn't about facts at all. It's about testing potential. You're sending out a little ping, like sonar.
And if you just ask directly, you force a yes or a no.
You force a binary.
Yeah.
And in social situations, a no isn't just a no, it's a rejection. It can be humiliating. It breaks the social fabric.
It makes everything awkward forever.
So awkward. Imagine you say to a coworker, I feel a profound connection with you. And they just go, okay. You can never talk about the budget with them again.
You've shown your hand. You can't unshow it.
Exactly. But with this layered approach, you're engaging in what the text calls risk distribution.
I love it, this part. It's so strategic. Break that down.
So you escalate slowly on the structural layer. You hold eye contact a tiny bit longer. You make a joke that's maybe a little more personal than it needs to be.
Okay.
If the other person doesn't reciprocate, if they look away, just answer your question literally, they've rejected the signal, but they haven't rejected you.
Because you never actually asked anything.
You never asked. So you can just retreat instantly back to the safe surface layer. Oh, sorry, I was just thinking about those spreadsheets again. And no one loses face. The social contract is intact.
It's a built-in escape hatch for your dignity.
And for the entire group's dignity. It lets us test for alignment without ever risking a catastrophic social failure. It puts stability first.
So it's all running on this constant back and forth, this interpretive feedback loop, as the source calls it?
Yes, that's the engine of the whole thing. You're both constantly modeling each other's minds. You send out a signal and you're watching, you're analyzing. Did they get it? Was that too much, too little?
And when it works, when you're both on the same wavelength.
The signal density increases. That's the term the source uses. And I think we've all felt that, right? You're talking about something totally meaningless, but the air between you feels thick.
It feels electric.
Yep.
Like you're the only two people there.
That's high signal density. The words are about pineapple on pizza, but the structural channel is carrying this massive payload of relational data. I see you. I get you. I'm with you.
But what about when it doesn't work? The fail state. Because, let's be honest, we've all been there too. You throw out a witty layered comment, and you just get a blank stare.
The source is pretty blunt about it and says, misalignment reduces depth or collapses interaction back to literal exchange.
It collapses back to literal exchange. That's such a cold, perfect way to describe that awkward feeling.
It's so painful. You try to add a layer, a little bit of wit, and they just respond to the literal words, and poof, the magic is gone. You're just two people talking.
And it all just evaporates.
It does. But, and this is key, it's not a fight. It's not a conflict. It's just nothing. The system just powers down.
Which explains the observer effect the text talks about. Why, if you're on the outside looking in, you often can't see it happening.
You can't. Because as an observer, you only have access to the surface layer. You just hear a boring chat about traffic. You can't feel the tension, the calibration, because you're not part of the encrypted loop.
You see the lips moving, but you can't hear the music.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And that invisibility is another safety feature, right? It keeps the interaction private, even when it's happening in public.
Okay, so let's dig into the why a bit more. The source lists some really specific system-level roles for this. We touched on calibration, but there are a few others.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first one is boundary negotiation.
This is critical, especially in a professional setting. You use a bit of humor, a bit of informality to just gently push on a boundary. You're testing the system.
Like, can I tease my boss a little bit? Or how formal is this meeting, really?
Exactly. And if they laugh, the boundary just moved. If they don't, you know exactly where the line is, and you can pull back without ever having made a scene. It's a constant, real-time negotiation of status.
Then there's attention synchronization.
This one is about creating a shared world. If I'm in a meeting and I roll my eyes at something someone says, and you catch my eye and you give a tiny smirk.
We're now a team.
We're a team of two. Our attention has synchronized. For that 1 second, we've created a little bubble, a micro-coalition that exists just for us.
Okay, but this next one, this is the one that really got me. Subtext bandwidth testing.
Ah, yes. This is the core of it, I think.
It sounds like you're checking your Wi-Fi signal.
You basically are.
Yeah.
You are testing the speed and capacity of the connection between your mind and theirs. The argument is that flirtation is fundamentally a metric. It's a way to evaluate another person's ability to process complex, layered information.
So when I make a witty, ambiguous comment, I'm not just being clever. I'm giving them an exam.
You are. You're testing their social IQ. Can this person handle ambiguity? Can they read between the lines? Do they operate on more than one level? If they only respond to the literal meaning, you learn they have low subtext bandwidth.
And that has implications far beyond dating.
Oh, huge. Think about a high-stakes negotiation. You might need to send a subtle signal that you can't say out loud.
Like, officially, I can't go lower on the price. But if you were to ask about including the service package.
Yes. That is a flirtatious structure. It's an ambiguous offer. Someone with low bandwidth will hear, I can't go lower, and the conversation ends. Someone with high bandwidth hears the real offer.
So you're almost You're flirting with your business partners to see if they're smart enough to keep up.
You're filtering for people who can operate in the gray areas. You're weeding out the literalists and finding the people who can handle complexity.
Mhm.
It's a surprisingly effective intelligence test.
Okay, there's a paradox here that the source brings up at the end, and it completely stopped me in my tracks. We've been talking about this whole thing as being fluid, adaptive, playful, but the text claims none of it can happen without something incredibly rigid.
Manners.
Manners. Which feels like the complete opposite of flirting. Flirting is about breaking rules, right? Manners are all about following them.
It seems like a contradiction. But the source argues that manners are the stabilizing protocol. They are the infrastructure that the whole system runs on.
The road that you're driving on.
It's the road. Manners create a baseline of safety and predictability. And here's why that's so important. Without safety, ambiguity isn't playful. It's a threat.
It actually uses that word threat.
It does. If I don't trust you, if I think you might be a danger to me, and you start using ambiguous language or standing too close, I don't interpret that as flirtation. I interpret it as aggression. My alarm bells go off.
So the boring, polite surface layer is what gives you the license to be interesting and risky on the structural layer.
100%.
Mm.
You need the safety net before you'll try the tightrope walk. Manners mean I can assume you're not a predator, which allows me to interpret your ambiguous signals as play.
That's a really powerful idea. Manners aren't about being stuffy. They're about creating a safe space for genuine connection to happen.
Exactly. It's like a boxing match versus a street fight. The rules and the referee in boxing are what allow the fighters to actually engage fully. Without that structure, it's just chaos. Manners are the rules of the ring.
So if we zoom all the way out, the big takeaway here is what the source calls structural fluency.
Right. This is the end goal. Stop thinking of this as a dating tactic and start seeing it as a fundamental communication architecture.
It's just how sophisticated people communicate.
Anywhere that meaning is complicated, yes.
Yeah.
In great novels, the characters are never just saying what they mean. In diplomacy, it's all about sending these layered signals.
So being good at flirting really just means you are structurally fluent.
It means you're a good architect of meaning. You know how to build a connection with someone using subtext, timing, and ambiguity. You know how to test its strength without breaking it.
That reframes the whole thing. It's not about being charming or good-looking. It's a skill you can learn.
It's a skill. It's about understanding that meaning isn't just in the words. It's in the relationship between the speakers.
Wow.
The relational positioning.
Which I think is so liberating. It's not a personality contest. It's a mechanical skill. You can practice it. You
Right.
can get better at reading the signals.
You can. You can literally go out and practice this. Try to have a conversation where you maintain a totally neutral surface layer while trying to communicate something else on the structural layer. At first, it's clunky, but eventually it becomes second nature.
Which brings me to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. The whole point of this mechanism, as we've said, is to test for compatibility, to see who gets it.
Right.
Aren't we just flirting every single time we use sarcasm?
Oh, absolutely.
Or irony? Or when you make a really niche joke in a meeting just to see who laughs?
You're sending out a ping,
Yeah.
a signal. You're scanning the room for people who are tuned to your frequency.
We think of sarcasm as hostile sometimes. But in this model, it's actually a bid for connection. I'm throwing out this layered signal to see who's smart enough to catch it.
You're filtering the crowd. You're asking who here has the subtext bandwidth for this? And the person who smirks from across the table, that's someone you can probably work with. That's someone who gets complexity.
So the next time you drop a dry comment in a conversation, just take a second and notice what you're actually doing. You're not just being witty, you're running a diagnostic. You're flirting with the entire room.
And if you listen carefully, you'll find the room is probably flirting right back.
The real conversation is always happening underneath. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
We'll see you in the next one.